We would like to welcome you this evening to Mapleton City Council meeting. Both of you, welcome. On Wednesday, April 10th, 2024, we'll begin with an invocation by Councilman Beck and led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilman Garrett.
Our dear gracious Heavenly Father, we're grateful for this beautiful spring day that we have to come and meet together as members of this town. We're grateful for the opportunities we have and for our neighbors and those that we're able to share this town with. With that, please bless us with the Spirit that will be guided and directed as we discuss these topics today. We love thee and we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
We invite everyone to stand and join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, all of our city council members are present with exception of Reed, who's on the phone. Reed, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. All right, we have two people who have signed up for public forum. Beth McMaster and Karen Ripley. Did I get that right? Awesome. Okay. And you're welcome to come up. When you come up, just announce your name and state your name for the record for Camille, and then you're welcome to come forward and bring your item. Does that work? Okay, let's do it.
Let me turn off my phone so I don't set an alarm or, okay.
You Karen?
I'm Karen, yes, I'm Karen Ripley.
There we go.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
Perfect. That was perfect.
Okay, this is Beth.
Beth McMaster.
Yeah.
All right, awesome.
Okay. One of our greatest joys of living in Mapleton is our Mapleton Canyon. Several times a week in the spring, summer, fall, and winter, my husband and I and many, many hikers enjoy it. Enjoy this beautiful canyon. The single track hike east of Whiting Campground is blissful in every season. In the spring, it's filled with buds and green. In the fall, the towering leaves are thick overhead in shades of red and yellow, making you think you're in Vermont. In the winter, there's a small pine tree that walkers and hikers, all of us, take ornaments up to decorate for Christmas. Imagine our disbelief, dismay, and then horror to find out 3 weeks ago that this once single-track trail is now a 2-car width rocky dirt road. I understand that we need water for an ever-growing city. My questions are, what precautions are being taken right now to ensure that the least amount of damage is done to our canyon? Another question is, how wide must this once beautiful single-track trail be because of the water project? Also, what kind of restoration will happen once the project is finished? And also, what water conservation efforts are being made to safeguard this precious resource so we don't keep destroying our mountains for an insatiable desire for green lawns? Unfortunately, damage is already done. Mapleton has one canyon. The trees that once lined our trail won't tower above us again. Our grandkids will not see the canyon that we saw. We do need water to live, but we can balance this need with the beauty that we enjoy.
Great. Thanks. Did we have any more questions? Beth?
She just told me she was coming here just a few minutes ago. So I don't know how many of you guys got my email a couple of weeks ago. A lot of it sounds really similar to what Karen said. So yeah, my question, I was just wondering why we needed to make that road a double wide road. Like, it just seemed a little excessive. I know we need to get equipment up there, of course, but I don't know how many of you guys have been up there. It's so wide, like, why did we need to do it like? And I did
Is it
talk-
just on the east side of the trail up by the Whiting Campground, or is it throughout the trail all the way down to the parking lot?
The trail that starts at the mouth of the canyon, that ends at the campground,
Yeah.
has one area where they've had to go up, because they found a spring, or I guess there's a spring up there that they want to tap into, and so that trail is not destroyed except for the spot where it needs to
At the one
cross.
section.
Yeah, so the concern that most of us have is that upper area, and I've been out of town, I haven't been up there. It's really hard for me to go up there. I get sick to my stomach when I go up there now. And it might even be closed, I don't know.
There's a portion that is, yeah.
Yeah, so I've only been to, not very far up, I've only been to the section where the trail intersects with the trail that goes up to Spanish Fork Peak. As I could look up, it's still, wide dirt road all torn up. But that canyon gets quite a bit more narrow up there, and so I don't know if you guys have been up there, is it that wide all the way up to I believe it goes to Dibble Fork Springs, which
I
is
have.
a mile and a half up.
Sean, Rob's not here. Do you want to take it, Corey, first and give an explanation, or go ahead?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we have been going up there and looking at that, and you are correct. As you go past the campground and start working up through there, that is wide. It is, we're all sympathetic to that. We do want to make sure that we have access for the future, so that will give us the ability to go up there with a vehicle as needed. The long-term,
That will become a vehicle road, or
So,
well, so let me hit on a few things. Well, with that, we do recognize in areas they made it too wide. We're discouraged about that. We do recognize, though, we can come back in here and do some revegetation, and that's definitely the game plan, to revegetate. But the thing I do want to emphasize is, for the long term, there will be an access road going up there, so we can get vehicles up there from time to time as we need to. But our goal is to make it a multi-use, so that it will have that trail purpose. So our hope is, when it's all done, we get the revegetated, et cetera, that people walk through there like, wow, this is actually pretty cool. We are sympathetic to it. We actually, a number of the staff have hiked that area quite a bit, and so we certainly recognize what you're bringing up. If you go up there, there's no doubt it's a wide, a wide road at this
Yeah.
time. But
I mean, I was told, I don't remember who called, I talked to Corey first, and then.
that's me.
Okay,
Yep.
so, and then the other person that
Rob.
called me, is he more in charge of
Yeah,
engineering and stuff?
Yep.
So he had mentioned it had to be double wide to fit 2 vehicles for traffic, and I didn't question that until I got off the phone and started thinking, I'm like, why?
There might be, just right now, as they're doing the construction side of it, that's not the long-term goal. So again, the long-term goal is to come back in here once the project's complete, do the proper vegetation. But I do emphasize that the goal is that it would have the ability to access it. What's happened in the times past, over time, we've not kept it a road for access. We just drove up there as needed, and
What year did they put that first pipe in? Do you remember, Corey, the ones there?
man, I'm not,
Was it 30 years ago?
probably at least, yeah.
30 years ago?
Yeah.
Had they done it right 30 years ago, we wouldn't be doing this, but they
Right.
didn't do it right.
Right.
And so
Yeah,
now
I
they're
mean,
revamping it. But this is the other situation you gotta think about. One is that when you hire contractors, they'll get in there and they don't care about the trees like we do, right? And so we have to be able to manage them and direct them and say, all right, look, we're gonna do the least amount of damage. And so that's the conversation that we're constantly having with them now, trying to manage that and say, you only open enough space to get the job done, which is getting the pipe up there, getting the pipe in the ground, and that takes some space and maneuvering in certain areas. But like Corey said, some of those areas probably could have been preserved a little bit better, and they did the damage in a day or two that, you know.
Right.
And so then we caught that, and now we're on them, and we're making sure that they're doing the least amount of damage. Our water quality plan that we've paid a lot of money for specifies and makes sure for our ancestors, or excuse me, not our ancestors, our kids and future generations, To preserve and provide the absolute best drinking water, that water is critical for the long-term sustainability of this city, for quality and for volume. And so it's our responsibility to get in there and do whatever it takes to preserve that, number one. That's number one importance no matter what. In my opinion, and the engineers that back that and the water quality study for long-term, providing this place and making it a great place to live would require quality drinking water, the best quality drinking water available. I think we would all agree to that.
Yeah, no,
That's number one. Number
yeah.
two, you're exactly right. And Beth, your email was well received. It was awesome. I was on the mountain on Sunday with TJ James. I don't know if you guys know him. He's 67. He was born and raised here. His whole James family's lived here. I've had these same conversations with him. He rides it 3 times a week, 4 times a week consistently. And he's bummed too, right? But he also understands, yes, long-term sustainability of our city and for my kids and everything else, this is a vital project. It'll reduce our energy costs. It'll reduce the iron that we pump out of the ground and we put in our bodies. It'll reduce all kinds of things. And that's all been proven from the engineer reports. At the same time, we got to be responsible and do it the right way, which means the least amount of damage to the beautiful trail that we enjoy and have enjoyed, which I enjoy. And, you know, the fact is it's going to be closed for a little bit here during the summer, and it's unfortunate, but in order to get that job done, that's what it's going to take. And we submitted for a grant and got 65% of it probably in the grant, which is huge because we don't have money like that to spend and fix a problem they should have done right 30 years ago. Technology's changed and all those things,
Right.
obviously, right? So absolutely, your questions about the least amount of damage, 100%, we are on board with you, and we are very concerned about that and want to keep that. And we'll do whatever's necessary on the project to try and fix some of that. Some of it you can't really fix. Some of it takes time to fix, right? And so we want to minimize that so that there's not that much. Anytime you put these structures in up there, they require maintenance. So you got to be able to get some type of vehicle, whether it's a side-by-side or
I totally understand that. I was just like, does it have to be a double wide?
100%.
And I guess that
Agreed.
happened, and maybe you
Yes.
guys weren't on top of it. I mean, obviously, because when I first talked to some other people, and I don't think any city council people have been up there to look at what
I have.
happened.
I go
Well,
up there consistently, and I have been
Well,
there, and I go there consistently, which I'll take that responsibility. These guys have not been given the responsibility to do it, but I know what they're doing, and I know how it gets done, and I know what it requires to get it done, and some of that stuff's unacceptable, and some of it's not. And I know.
So
if there's a
the
person up there-
contractors have been talked to. I mean,
Yes.
it was a little late for that lower section that is just, I don't know why it needed to be that wide.
We're going to argue that it needs to be right for certain reasons, and if one of these individuals went there, they could convince them of that. They can't convince me of that. I know what it takes to get that project done. I do those type of projects. And so I am on it, and yes, they could do that destruction in about 3 hours with a piece of equipment,
Yeah.
right? And so it's been explained, it's been detailed, we are on it and making sure that that type of thing doesn't work. What's happened has happened. Some of that probably could have been preserved and done a little differently.
But they know now then. I mean, I just want to make sure.
They do know.
I-
It's been explicit to them, yes. And so,
I mean, I think even after I wrote that letter, I think there was a hold on the project because maybe it wasn't realized how much.
no,
they
they've
were
been,
doing, but-
they've been talked about. Your email was awesome.
So then it shouldn't be that wide. Like I said, I haven't been up past that junction since I was there a couple weeks ago. The plan is not to have a
The width-
double wide
no,
road past,
There's no,
all the way up to Dibble.
no, double wide's not necessary. You got to be able to get some piece of equipment up there to access it, to
Right.
maintain it and fix and all those things you got to do.
Yeah.
So will it look exactly the same as it looks today in 30 years? I don't know.
Yeah.
It probably will be better trimmed and a little bit more manicured so you can get in and out of there.
Right.
And so it will change a little bit, but hopefully that as years go by and next summer and leaves come in, that it fills in some and we add
Well,
some
and I was told, I
vegetation.
don't know if it was Corey or it was the engineer, that the trees were part of the problem that were causing the pipes to fail.
Mm-hmm.
So they wouldn't be replanting trees up there?
Well,
Is
where the
that true?
pipeline is, we're gonna try and do it the right way so that what happened before doesn't happen, you know,
Right.
to the new pipeline. But in order to make sure that some of those things don't happen, you gotta be able to get in there with equipment to maintain it, right?
Yeah.
And so there's gonna be some access.
Yeah,
It
I
won't
can
be-
understand that.
It won't be the dirt bike trail or the horse bike
noise,
riding
yeah.
trail or whatever that was before, which I loved. I mean, I loved going up there. I totally get what you're saying, and I agree 100% with you.
Yeah.
But if this wasn't a vital project for the long-term sustainability of this city, why would we do it? We wouldn't do it.
No, yeah, no, I understand. I totally understand the importance of our water. I guess most of our questions were just like,
How wide?
why
How
it needed to
wide?
be that
Right.
wide.
That's right.
2 cars?
Like,
No,
because,
not
yeah,
2
someone
cars.
told me they had to have 2 cars for passing during the construction. I'm like,
We're not
use a
building freeway.
radio, just like
No,
have maybe a little
don't
pull
use a
out or
radio.
something.
Just pull over a little bit and I'll pass you.
Right.
How about that?
And so that was like, okay, is
should
is
have-
this not being monitored? Like, what?
Yes. We want you to
So-
know that it is being monitored. I don't know how often Rob's going there.
He's going up there quite a bit each week, so,
Okay.
and this
3 days a week or so. And
has obviously put us all to like, hey, we gotta make sure we're watching this closely, and
Yeah, I mean, there's not a ton of hikers up in the winter. I mean, there's a few of us that will go up there year round. I go up there in the winter a couple times a week. And so I don't know that how many residents even know. That was my, I'm like, as soon as the weather starts warming up and you get people that get going up there, that I think
what
it's
the
gonna
heck?
be a shocker for a
Yeah.
lot of our residents. Because like I said, there's not a big number going up there in the
Well, you
winter.
can't-
Because it
there's-
started in January.
There's signs.
Well, yeah, I
saying you're
don't,
not supposed to
you
go.
can't go up there right now, so.
did, I have a question. I'm curious if you two ever heard about any of this, but Corey, we were having Madison do some, how much rollout have we done on social media and
she's
stuff?
put some information in the newsletter, in this
Yeah, I
April
saw
newsletter.
that most
Yeah.
recent
So
newsletter.
you did see that. Is there any other,
I was looking all over trying to find, like, I'd love, like, a plan, like, how far it's
social
going
media?
up.
Did you see anything?
I looked
Has Madison
on
put anything
the-
there?
Yeah, just some brief stuff tied to our newsletter, but,
I've looked on the Mapleton website.
yeah, we haven't put any
Facebook.
maps.
Maybe what we need to do is type a summary that answers these questions, because it's not a secret. If you have these concerns, like Beth said, there's gonna be other people who have the same concerns. So what we should do is type up a summary that shows, here's the work that's getting done, here's why it's important, and then here's what we plan for the trail to look like when the project's complete. And, hopefully it gets back as close as we can to what it was before in a certain time frame. And maybe that would be the most beneficial.
It sounded like you're kind of hoping for, too, just a map that kind of shows the design of what they're,
Yeah.
Yeah, shows what we're
how
doing.
far- So once you get to Dibbles, like, how are we going up, like, where do we end? Where does it, all those things, and how wide all the way
And where
up
it's at
there?
in the trail and all that
And
stuff.
that canyon gets quite a bit more narrow the further
And
up
you
you
gotta go
get
through
to.
the
What about the
creek
penny
So-
log? Are we keeping the penny log? Does anybody know about the penny log?
I'm not sure I know which one the penny log is.
For my
Penny
kids,
log
they,
is
they,
penny
they
log.
love going by
Well,
and
and
pulling out.
I don't know
Yeah.
if that tree's gone. I mean,
I think it's got,
How far up is the penny log?
It's just
It's
barely
right.
past the
Turn off?
yeah.
it's
the
just right
crossing,
there at
yeah.
the junction with Spanish Fort Peak
Little
Trail.
kids go in and put their little pennies.
I did
Or
not
take
know
them out
this.
like my kids do, and I tell them, "Watch
Those,
Okay,
that was our
out-
funding
outer
for the
end.
project. We've been hiding
Exactly.
pennies there.
Yeah, sure.
And so the water, I was talking to the engineer too about, as far as our stream, he says we might notice it going down a little bit, because I'm like, oh, is all this water now going to be diverted? We're not going to have our nice little stream up there? And from my understanding, that he said that the spring is separate where they're collecting this water, and that our little river there it'll be impacted a little bit, it'll go down a little bit, but it should still be there. I don't know if you
That-
guys have heard any updates on that.
that's what he's told me, and that's my understanding as
Yeah,
well.
I think it's hard to predict how much it's going to affect it, because as we know, water runs downhill, right? And it collects in a canyon like that. So this is coming out of the spring, and obviously that spring has been contributing to that river. I don't know. I haven't studied enough to know, like, what the flow of the creek will be after. It's something, and depend on how the snowfall was, obviously, and all that, but I can't answer that.
Okay.
We could try to do some digging and figure it out. I don't know. Maybe Rob knows.
It is a nice thing to look at, to have a
No question.
nice little river right there.
It's really cute, it's
Keeps
really
it cool too. It's great. It's awesome.
Um,
It's part of the feeling you get going up there.
So then the actual pipeline is going to be directly underneath the trail?
In some areas, it goes off to the side, I believe. I haven't walked all the way up and see exactly where the pipe lays, in all those areas. But it's designed in a way to get to do the least impact there. And there will be, like I said, a way to get a piece of equipment up there. But it's not double wide and it's not, a highway, so.
Okay.
But I think what we ought to do is put the summary together. We'll have to come up with some try to come up with a plan that doesn't take an engineer to read to figure out. And kind of lay it out. Maybe we could show where the trail is, and then we could put a red line showing where the pipe, something really simple, just so people that want to know could see it and be informed. And then we can put the pipeline, like what the critical dates are of when the trail will be closed here or there or so forth, you know?
Yep, we can do that. And like I said, we did a paragraph in the April newsletter, so we'll now
Maybe a
do some
diagram.
more in the main newsletter plus social media.
Okay.
Because the trail originally, I had heard was gonna the project would have been done like towards the end of July, but now it's looking fall time, right?
Yeah,
Which
it
is-
does. And a few things with that, the campground, it should be getting open here, might already be open. I haven't been out there
Later
this
in the-
last week.
Another week
but
or so.
Here in the next week or two, that'll be open. Then in mid-July, we're gonna close it down for approximately about 10 days to go in there and repave the road within the campground, and then it'll be open again after that, so.
But the trail where the pipe is being placed
That's still
probably
gonna
will
be
go
under construction.
go into the
Correct,
fall. Okay.
correct.
I think we need a regular educational campaign.
Some social media, yeah, we can do that.
Even every couple weeks to note progress, take an update photo or whatever, I think that'll be important.
What, it could be added to the newsletter, a monthly update.
Yeah, we'll
And
do
if
that. We'll
that's what
put a
people
news,
see,
yeah.
just keep the update going.
And then, I mean, I don't exactly know where our collected water goes, but where is there a collection facility that's halfway up the canyon there? Where is this water going exactly?
So this water, where the water goes from all of where we get our drinking water is mainly from our wells. So there's certain wells that are connected together and they pump up to the water tank. You guys know where the water
And the water
tank?
tank's up the canyon?
No,
I don't know.
it's south of the canyon.
Oh,
But
okay.
if you see the mountains kind of cut out toward the south end, vegetation's growing. Similar situation. We cut in and put the water tank in when did you guys do that? 2010, 2018, 2008?
Yeah.
And it was the same thing. The mountain's ruined. It'll never look the same. We'll never enjoy our mountain again. And now today, you can't really notice it. But it was the right thing to do, right? Although a lot of us looked at it and said, you guys destroyed it. It's ruined. And today, we're grateful that they did that. There wasn't any other way to do it. This is an exact similar situation. So a lot of that water goes and gets pumped up into the tank that we have up there, but then it comes out and goes directly into our system. So that water can be pumped right into the system, flow right into the system and added to it through a PRV at the bottom of the canyon. So there's two different ways to do it, but that's the best quality water we got.
So
That
what
we will have.
about what percentage will that be?
It'll reduce our pumping by about 30%.
We're also
From
hoping to
electricity
close a well or
costs.
two as well, right?
Well, we can just stop pumping.
Right, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we're able to reduce our pumping by about 30% from electricity wise, so we save in electricity, but then we also preserve groundwater, theoretically. You don't know what groundwater's gonna do, but, so if the two correlate, 30%, which is a large amount, 20%. But we can get you all of those details from the engineer drawings if you'd like.
Okay.
I can't recall everything off the top of my head, but.
And then I did see something on the agenda for today, anyway, I was just trying to go through back agendas and things, but just addressing water conservation? Was that wishful thinking on my part to see on a thing on the,
On today's agenda?
on today's agenda?
There's landscaping standards that you
Yeah.
may have seen that we have adopted, that we're making some amendments to, but you may have seen some of those that have.
Okay.
But
Water.
the landscaping and buffering we're doing isn't,
No, it's just in the existing text.
okay, that's what I thought.
So is that a discussion that we're having about water conservation? Is that,
Yeah, Sean, do you want to answer that, speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what, we're always looking at conservation efforts, encouraging drought-tolerant landscaping and things like that. Part of the conservation is doing what we're doing here, is getting use of the well water rather than having to pump more out of the ground. But as far as, you know, I don't know what other elements you might be interested in, but
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Mapleton was one of the cities that led out on installing metered primary, or PI.
Secondary.
So our pressurized irrigation system is all metered before most cities were even metered. So there's a lot that's gone on historically. My recommendation would be to come in and talk you. I would set a different appointment. You both have a lot of questions about
Sure.
water. I think
Yeah.
there's a lot more than we could go over tonight.
Sure.
We welcome you to come talk
Yeah.
with the city to understand how the water flows, conservation efforts, and all of those things. There's
Great.
Oh, sorry, my mic's off. So we would welcome you to come in and really be educated about that.
Great.
We don't have all of the people at the table to have the conversation tonight about all of those things.
And give us
but-
the ideas.
We do about every year or so. We'll put stuff in a newsletter about ideas of conserving water, and we'll give them some websites to go to that can help them as far as with their landscaping, that kind of stuff. So we certainly are promoting that as we work with our community, so.
I'll just say this, that aside from the details and the technicalities, we as elected officials are very conservation-minded people, and we're definitely thinking about it, talking about it, asking questions throughout the year. When we see or feel a heavy snow load coming or a light snow load coming, and knowing that it's gonna be a tight water year, we start early and start talking about what we're gonna do to mitigate that, or if water, the talks of metering people's water or shutting off certain times of people can water, things like that, those are usually in the springtime. We're constantly having those conversations of whether we're gonna execute it or not and things like that. So generally, yes, we're on top of it.
And these are great questions, so feel free to, like Councilmember Egbert mentioned, you're welcome to come in and meet with us, or you're welcome to put your questions together and send me an email, and then I can get with each of the departments that you have questions on and you know, answer those. And this is great insight. I like the idea as far as us now getting the word out as far as what's taking place up there. Because you're right, as the trail's gonna get used now as spring hits and it gets warmer out there, so we can. So yeah, feel free to call me and come in and meet, or send me an email with your questions, either way.
Great.
On that, so.
This is off the topic, but just a question on the paved bike path. Is there an estimated time of when that's going to be connected to the Spanish Fork trail system?
And you're asking all the questions.
The good
You didn't show
stuff.
up, that's sucker.
Another
Do
meeting.
you want to cover that one, Sean? or-
yeah, just really quickly, we've had grant money to be able to connect it to Spanish Fork. The major hurdle is crossing the train tracks. The railroad has made it very difficult for us to get plans approved. We're kind of stuck right now, trying to deal with them on that. So my guess is it's still probably a year or two out.
We're even looking at a few other options, we've had some
Isn't there
conversation.
a tunnel already?
So there's a tunnel under the highway, but then our proposal was to actually develop a tunnel under the train tracks to get under the tracks to get into Spanish Fork, and they've not been supportive of our current design, so
I see.
we're
The
working.
Spanish Fork
hard.
City,
It's-
us, Springville, we're all together on
Trying to get that.
on board, and we all want it to happen. So we're pushing pretty hard.
If you know anyone at Union Pacific,
Right.
you're welcome to
It's
hop on a
such a
committee
shame.
for
It's
that.
such a nice path, and then it just ends.
Or
and
someone
like-
that's Joe Biden and right below him, that guy might be able to help.
Yeah.
so.
All right, so don't look forward to that opening anytime soon.
Nope. Thank you.
Fortunately.
All right, thank you.
Thank you both, thanks. All right, we will move to our consent agenda item. We have 4 items on the, well, no, we have 3. No, we have 4, sorry, that's the edit, 4. We have 4 items on the consent agenda. Look for a motion.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Jones, a second by Councilman Beck. Our 5th item is an action item, consideration of an ordinance amendment.
Wait,
Whoa, whoa.
gotta vote.
We gotta vote.
Oh, we might need
Reed's,
to vote
and
on
Reed's
that.
on there. Reed, you wanna go
ahead.
first?
Carlson, yes.
Egbert, yes.
Beck, yes.
Jones, yes.
Garrett, yes.
All right, great. Sorry about that. Number 5 is consideration of an ordinance amending Mapleton City Code Section 18.90 regarding landscaping and buffering requirements in commercial and residential zones. Mr. Conroy.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. We discussed this at our last meeting. The council was supportive of most of the changes. They asked us to relook at the wording on the requirements for fencing between commercial and residential properties. So that's what we brought back before you tonight. So the revised language would require an 8-foot fence in most instances for commercial development when they abut residential. And the ordinance would indicate that it should be precast concrete, decorative block, or masonry materials. So these are kind of some options of things which you might see: the precast on the left, the block on the right, and the masonry on the bottom. So with those changes, we'd recommend approval of the ordinance.
Just to add, I've talked with some of the residents about this proposed language, and they like it better. So I'm supportive of this language.
I appreciate it in that it still gives the flexibility for planning commission to drop it to a 6-foot when it's appropriate too. So I really like the direction we took on that, and I'd be supportive as well.
Yeah, I really like the idea of 8 foot, but then option of 6. I like that switch.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve an ordinance amending Mapleton City Code, Section 18.90, regarding landscaping and buffering requirements in commercial and residential zones.
I'll second.
A motion by Councilmember Jones and a second by Councilmember Egbert.
Egbert, yes.
Beck, yes.
Jones, yes.
Garrett, yes.
Carlson.
Carlson, yes. Carlson, yes.
All right, we'll move to item number 6, consideration of a discussion item to review a possible ordinance allowing flag lots within the city. Mr. Conroy.
Yeah, just briefly, as you know, last meeting we discussed this briefly. Staff had proposed an ordinance that could potentially allow for flag lots. The main concern that staff has had is potential costs in maintaining dead-end roads that could result if we don't have something like this in place. Now, we've had some discussions individually with council members. We can get into as much detail as you'd like tonight, or if you have some preliminary thoughts on it, you can just share those and we'll go from there.
I know one of the items we discussed before was how many potential lots would be affected by this. I know you sent us an email about it, but can you remind us how many lots?
Yeah, if we limited it to parcels that were at least 1 acre in size, it was about 65 potential.
Mm-hmm.
I know this is a discussion item as a follow-up to our previous meeting. My personal feeling is that the affected lots are pretty few in number at this point. I think that we're creating a solution looking for a problem. I am respectful of the perspective of the city on the road versus a lane, but I'm inclined to motion that we this isn't a topic that we take up at this time, that this is an issue that we take up as a city at some future time.
Agreed.
It's a discussion item, so I don't think we
Yeah.
give
No, there's no motion required, but that would be
recommendation.
my
In the
my
future.
position.
Recommendation.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
recommendation.
my concern is, okay, we've got, very similar to yours, is if there's a 65 potential, well, that's 65 neighborhoods that could potentially be affected, not that I expect that to happen, but that's not what's being presented. That's not what any citizens are asking for in terms of a broad citywide change in our legislation, in our code. So I'm inclined to not solve the problem that doesn't exist when there's not a preponderance of demand from our citizens.
I'd like to stay on top of the topic, though, if that's all right, if
Yeah.
it does become an issue.
Yeah, I think there's good points in it because there are costs, potential costs in it that are worth keeping on the top of our minds for sure. But yeah, I agree. It's not a good time to do it, so let's put it off.
Okay, is that good enough?
Yeah.
Great, thanks, Sean. All right, let's go to administrative reports. Chief, you want to take it?
Yeah, 2 very, very quick ones. Just 2 events in the next week. So next Thursday night, so a week from tomorrow night, is the Shakeout Day. So our Community Preparedness Committee will run a drill with mock problems through the city and have our stake members report that back. We'll test our Everbridge system. So 2 Everbridges that night, one that's gonna go out, make it clear it's a mock drill, and then one going out saying it's over. So that's next Thursday night. backtrack to this coming Saturday is our animal licensing clinic this Saturday at the fire station. So if any of you can push that out, that helps us with our animal shelter fees too. So anybody that wants low-cost rabies and licensing, this Saturday at the fire station, 9 to 1. So.
Thanks, Chief. All right, Sean?
Nothing for me.
Nothing? Jessica?
Not a lot. There's a couple of us going down to the league conference next week. Is it, who's going? Sean and Corey?
Both of us.
You guys and Theron? Okay. So we'll see you down there and get some good information. We do have the May 7th community preparedness class coming up. That'll be a fire safety related, so we'll want to push out all of the registration information. Chief's working on getting that. You'll see some bylaw revisions coming forward for that group as well, but that's it.
Great, thank you. Casey?
NYCC has worked with some donors to create a scholarship. It's not a NYCC scholarship, but a donor-supported scholarship for NYCC members. And a few of us will be reviewing applications, and that should be coming within the next week that I'll send to you.
Great, thanks, Casey. Leslie?
No report.
Theron?
Just heads up for the community cleanup will be on the 20th, so not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. And everything should be the same as it has been in years past.
Great.
Dumpsters will show up this next week though, right? Not
Dumpsters will be here this Friday.
this Friday.
Until the 21st.
Thanks, Camille. Nothing else, Corey?
In that April newsletter, the mayor's message was on our award that we received from the Healthy Utah community to get, it's called the Get Healthy Utah program, and the Utah League kind of runs that. So we announced it to our residents through the newsletter. We'll put a few more social media posts out there on it. Dallas met with them yesterday and did the interview, so we got that done. We had it down there or over at the town square, so I think perfect setting, and thanks, Dallas, for taking
The
some time.
league's
to
not
that.
using his bull B-roll, is he? Got a cow again.
So next Friday, they, down at the end of the conference, they will award us that. And what we'll do, then we can take that video and post that on our city website as well, and pretty cool.
I thought it was pretty cool. A couple years ago, Jessica and I were down at the mid-year conference, and they rolled out a few of these awards for other cities, and we both looked at each other like, why can't Mapleton do this? And now we did, so
We
it's
got
pretty
it.
awesome.
There you go. Yep,
It's pretty cool.
that's all I had.
Kudos to everybody involved.
Great, thanks, Corey. All right, with that, we'll look for a motion to close the meeting.
Move to close.
I had one
Oh,
thing.
shoot, sorry, Reed, go ahead.
It's very important. It's how we get rid of our garbage.
Oh, yes, thank goodness you were here.
It's still set up for April 25th to have the open house. 12 o'clock is when we will open up with the activities and tours. The official ceremony is at 2 o'clock, and we'll continue to have tours and events there with the Falcons and the car show and everything until 5 o'clock.
Are you taking your car to the show or not?
Yes, I was going to take a couple of them. I understand we're going to have a concrete pumper truck there with a 150-foot boom that'll have a flag up on it.
Yeah, all right, well,
Plus, we might have some tactical vehicles and some other things too.
no, that'd be cool. If you need help driving, if you need help driving. if you
Should be a very nice event, and glad it's coming.
Awesome, thanks for staying on top of that. If
Yeah,
you
thank you.
need help driving a car down there, I know how to burn some rubber, so let me know.
Okay, I'll put a set of new tires on it before you take it.
And we're talking. Okay, great. With that, we'll look for a motion to close the meeting.
Motion to close.
Second.
A motion by Councilman Beck and a second by Councilmember Jones. All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Yes, I,
Thanks, Reed.
thank you.